Everyone believed they were the perfect couple. A successful lawyer, a devoted wife, for children, a beautiful home. From the outside, they had everything. But behind closed doors, their marriage had already begun to collapse. Years later, one of them would be dead. The other would spend the rest of her life behind bars. And America would become divided over one difficult question. Was Betty Broderick a cold-blooded killer, or a woman pushed beyond her breaking point? This is the Betty Broderick story. In the early 1970s, Betty and Dan Broderick seemed destined for success. While Dan attended law school and later medical school, Betty worked tirelessly to support the family. She managed the household, raised their children, took care of everything while Dan built his career. Friends admired their relationship. Many believed they were the definition of the American dream. Years later, Dan became one of California's most successful divorce attorneys. Ironically, his own marriage was falling apart. As Dan's career flourished, he grew distant. Long hours became normal. Phone calls stopped. Excuses became routine. Eventually, Betty discovered the truth. Dan was having an affair, not with a stranger, but with his much younger legal assistant, Linda Colkina. The discovery devastated Betty. She believed she had sacrificed everything to help her husband succeed. Now she felt she was being replaced. The divorce quickly became one of the most bitter legal battles California had ever seen. Money, property, custody, everything became a battlefield. Friends watched Betty's emotional state deteriorate. She left angry voice messages, threw objects through windows, ignored restraining orders. Many believed she was losing control. Others believed she had simply been broken by years of betrayal. Then came the wedding. Dan married Linda. For Betty, it was unbearable. She believed the woman who helped destroy her marriage was now living the life she had spent decades building. The anger never disappeared. It only grew stronger. On the morning of November 5, 1989, Betty entered Dan's home using a key she had secretly kept. She walked upstairs. Dan and Linda were asleep. Moments later, gunshots echoed through the house. Both were dead before police arrived. Betty immediately surrendered. She admitted what she had done, but insisted years of emotional abuse, manipulation, and humiliation had driven her to the breaking point. The trial became a national obsession. Television networks covered every testimony. Talk shows debated the case daily. Women across America argued that Betty had been emotionally destroyed by a powerful husband who controlled every aspect of the divorce. Others believed no amount of betrayal could justify murder. The nation became divided. The first jury couldn't reach a unanimous verdict. A second trial followed. This time, Betty Broderick was convicted of second-degree murder. She was sentenced to 32 years to life in prison. Decades later, she has repeatedly been denied parole. Officials concluded that she still showed little remorse. Even today, the Betty Broderick case remains one of the most controversial stories of love, divorce, revenge, and obsession in American history. Some see Betty as a murderer. Others see her as the tragic product of years of emotional manipulation. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between. Sometimes relationships don't end with divorce papers. Sometimes they end with tragedy. And sometimes the deepest wounds are invisible long before anyone notices them. If you enjoy true crime documentaries, real investigations, and shocking stories of betrayal, obsession, and revenge, subscribe to Story Vault Studio. Because behind every perfect marriage, there may be a secret.